Hey,
Hello, mate.
how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm really excellent today.
Hey, man, the Lemmy Lounge. I like it. That is superb. Is that another plan you've got? Are you working on opening a bar or something? I never know with you.
Yes, yes to all the above. Um, as you know, the statues had quite an immediate impact on the dead town that you know is
Yeah,
Burslem, as people call it now. Uh,
brilliant.
and yeah, we've got another event. Are we recording before or
Oh, we're recording now, mate.
right? So, okay. Do I talk about things in the past or
You
in
could
the
do. You
present?
could talk about whatever you like because we're. I mean, we're not in any rush.
Okay,
I'm
mate.
sure we'll recap the day and
Yeah.
everything else. But
Uh,
yeah,
okay.
Lemmy Lounge.
At this time of recording, we're looking to scheduling more events in
Great.
Lemmy Plaza. The signs have been ordered. We have actually got a massive sign that says "Welcome to Burrs Lemmy," and the guys who make the official road signs in Stoke-on-Trent, like government department, we just asked them, and they made one, and it's like a proper one. They said, "Well, you can put it up as long as you don't cover an existing sign." And it's a huge, big, heavy thing, like the proper, ones you see.
Yeah.
Welcome to Lemmy, welcome to Burrs Lemmy, and we said, "How much do you owe you then?" And they said, "No, it's Lemmy, isn't it? It's Lemmy."
Wow.
So that's what we're dealing with. We've got we're a poor area, but people are proud of anyone who is having a go and make it. And Lemmy exemplifies the ultimate having a go, doesn't he? From like,
Oh, mate, the day after the event, I went to the cafe that's down by the lake,
oh yeah,
and I was having lunch there, um, me and my girlfriend, and we were, and she went to get the orders in, and I was listening to a conversation behind me. Now it was a family of about two or three generations, and the youngest said to one of them, and when I say youngest, probably sort of mid 30s, early 40s, maybe. Oh, did anybody go up to see the statue yesterday? And and the guy said, "Oh no, I didn't get there, but I'm gonna go to it." Um, but what a man, what a legend, what a representative of this area. So you could stuff your Robbie Williams. We're talking a proper rock star here, and then starts talking and in depth. Not a fan of the
yeah, yeah,
music, but
yeah,
starts talking in depth about Lemmy, his
yeah,
life, the
yeah,
authenticity, what he means, what he meant to the area, and his wife. And now these guys were in their 70s, and I remember his wife saying, "I'm going to go and see him when everything's calmed down a bit." And it was just like I couldn't believe that I was listening to this conversation behind me of people to look at them. You'd have thought there's no way they know anything about Motorhead or Lemmy.
yeah,
And they
yeah,
sat there for a good 10 minutes extolling the virtues and saying what a great thing it was for the area and how busy the area had been yesterday and hopefully this can be the start of something. I mean, honestly, you just in your wildest dreams you couldn't have imagined a better conversation. And I just
yeah.
sat there grinning like this is awesome.
No, it's good to hear, Howard. It's good to hear. The word, I think the word is right that you said, authentic. I think that's the appeal of Lemmy.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And what's and I'm sure you're getting the same buzz out of it as me because it's your statue. But I mean, Instagram every day there is somebody from another part of the country or another country
Yeah,
who has
yeah.
made a specific pilgrimage to see that statue. And I don't think the council saw this coming. I don't think they realised
No,
what kind of pull this was going to have.
no, they know now because they're charging us more for a license to put a live event on because when we put 499, they know it's going to be more than that. And
Right.
and what you say about visitors, we've got a visitors book now in the gallery that's just opposite. I
Oh,
think we're on the
because the
second
gallery
one.
the gallery's open now then.
The gallery's open and stocked with like repro T-shirts, from the Lyceum, Bingley Hall gigs, stuff like that. And we've got an exhibition of photographs by Alan Perry. Alan Perry famously, the shots that he recorded, that became one of them became the cover of No Sleep Till Hammersmith, and he's got all the pictures from the Vale Park concert from '81. So he's exhibiting there, and our friend Crusher,
Yeah.
he's invaluable partner. His artwork's on show and for sale there as well. And we're building up the area, and the visitor book that's close to full already. It's been 9 weeks, and I think we've counted 22 different countries people have signed in from. And you see them, and you speak. I spoke to a couple the other day from Germany, and another couple were with them talking, and they were from Belfast. And I said, "Are you on the way to somewhere?" And they went, "No, we're here. We've come to see this."
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And I mean, some of the brilliant comments as well about, like, I've seen a lot from the States showing like pictures of some sort of like rubbish statue of a pop star or something like that, and going, "This is what we do here," and then showing your statue and going, "And this is what the Brits do." They know what they're doing, and it's just like it just seems to have really struck a chord, and quite rightfully, because it's flawless. It's a flawless statue. The snaggletooth on it, the lyric panel in the back, it is absolutely perfect.
Thanks, man.
And I just think that any fan is going to turn up and not. There's nothing worse than turning up at something and going, "Oh, it's a shame they didn't do that,"
Yeah,
or "A shame they
yeah.
didn't do it."
Well, that's why I got into this game, because I was sick of seeing so many bad ones.
Yeah,
And I didn't like step forward. Kind of everyone step back in terms of how bothered they seem to be. And I do sincerely believe that if you do something like this, like statuary, and you put respect and love into it, and people respond then, and I think you attract some part of the spirit of the subject to reside in there, because Lemmy Plaza has got a good feeling about it, and it's come from the people. It's like a touchstone, and each succession of visitors that come adds a bit more, somehow leave something in the air. It's a feel good place now. It certainly is.
Oh, I went into a burger bar on my way down to the club where I ended up seeing you in there.
Oh, Grumpy's,
And
yeah.
yeah, and I went into a burger bar, just a standard franchise burger bar, and they were playing Motorhead.
Oh, yeah.
And
That'd be smash on trend.
Yes, that's it. And I went up. I went up to the counter and I said, "Is this what you'd normally be playing?" And they went, "No, normally it's like chart stuff and R&B." And every one of them behind the counter was, "But this is a really nice change. And this is one of the busiest days, probably the busiest day we've ever had.
Yeah.
And we haven't had a single bit of trouble. And
Yeah.
everybody coming in has been really nice and polite and courteous." And she said, "It's just, if every day was like this, it would be perfect."
Well, we did a survey, we asked all the local businesses, and the average is $5,000 up on their takings just for that day.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's something it is.
That is awesome.
And that's what's going to, help us achieve the main goal, which is to convert the disused former Queen's Theatre into Kilminster Halls, the recording studio, 900 capacity live venue, music school, musical instrument library. And we lurched a step forward this week, and the Theatres Trust, who are helping us with the bid for this development, succeeded in getting us the first 10 grand towards the surveys that, once completed, make us eligible for the next stage, which is 100 grand, and then the 10 million that National Lottery are going to put into it. So it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and it's going to change the face of Lemmy's birthplace for so much for the good, because that spirit that the Motorhead family bring is going to be imbued into that place, and everything about it is going to function in that way. This is Lemmy's revenge on going from a boring place.
It's brilliant. It really is. And I was talking to there's a new episode of the Motorcast coming out, and that episode is with Tony Dolan from Venom Inc., who is obviously the singer and bass player.
Yeah,
And he was sent during the course of the interview. He said he was sent a T-shirt that Lemmy wore for a whole tour, and it was this one shirt that he wore it on stage every night,
yeah,
sleeves cut off, the lot. And he was sent it by, he said, I'm not going to say who, but a very close friend of Lem's sent me this as a gift. And he said, but I feel a bit guilty that it's it's in my possession. It should be somewhere where people can appreciate it. And I said, well, funnily enough, I think there may be a place for that to go and live.
sure.
And I did say that I'd put him in touch.
Oh,
So
that's brilliant.
I'll give you his contact details. Get in touch, tell him what I've told you, and I'm sure he'd be happy to
That's
to
excellent.
hand it over.
These events that we're curating are kind of a preview of what we want the whole town to be. So, as well as like we've got a retro clothing store, old leathers and stuff like that. So that eventually a business will go, oh, that could be like an everyday thing, and they'll take that up.
Yeah,
And Grumpy's motorcycle garage that hosted the after party on the unveiling has become a mini Lemmy museum. There's loads of stuff in there now. There's um, all the gig posters, t-shirts, badges, patches, artworks from the historic Heavy Metal Holocaust 1981 Port Vale gig. There's kind of bullet belts from the period, ticket stubs, press passes, and some really, really stuff that I was there at that concert and I can't remember because I couldn't afford to buy anything. I didn't even buy a t-shirt on the day. And it's you kind of get to relive it, through the merch and through the fan stuff. Even if you weren't there, you can get a picture of what it was like. So all these little artifacts are really invaluable because all the memories kind of stitch together like a feeling.
yeah,
And I do think that you surround something that commemorates a person with enough authenticity, and it does feel like they're kind of still around.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And believe it or not, I it wasn't until I drove past the Port Vale ground the following day that I was like, I mean, maybe my brain's mush, but it was only then that I realised, oh, hang on, that's why they played Port Vale. Because it always seemed like a strange football ground to play of all the football grounds they could have played.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was only then that I put it together. It's like, well, of course, because it's Burslem. It's literally 2-3 minutes from the statue. And it
yeah,
was
yeah,
only then that I realised, oh yeah, right. So, and again, that goes back to the authenticity. They could play anywhere in the country,
yeah,
but
yeah. Well, we want to do that again, and I think it was you suggested it actually.
oh God, was it?
But yeah, about putting a Lemmy tribute concert on maybe next May bank holiday. Try and get a
I
lineup.
I remember saying something about let's do something next year, let's do something
Mm.
annually, and you said at the time I want to do all sorts of events.
Well,
Uh,
the club are more than willing because they are fully equipped. They did actually put a gig on featuring Robbie Williams a few years ago, which meant that they had to upgrade the toilet and the kind of access and things like that. So
yeah,
they're all set for a 23,000 capacity Lemmy tribute
oh, that'd be
concert.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I
That would
mean,
be absolutely amazing.
he's got homes all over the world, because there are fans all over the world. But it'd be a miss if there wasn't something solid in his backyard.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. And the thing is, as well, yeah, you can't change it. We all come from somewhere. No matter how nomadic, Lemmy may have been over the years, it's where he came from. It's why they played Port Vale. It's without that area and the influence it had on him, then we may well never have had Motorhead.
Yeah, yeah. It's true. I mean, he was very young when he left, uh, but I don't think it's just me romanticizing. When I see him interviewed and things, you can tell he's from around where I'm from. He just reminds me of what people are like.
Yeah,
and that was like the biggest appeal when I first got into the band, however many years ago.
yeah,
Because I kind of something resonated with me. Not it was the authenticity, and it was also I don't know. People, I'm only just starting to realize that people were talking about Ozzy and Sabbath about the music of the people, and I've only just kind of realized that that's what it is.
yeah,
Um, and it's good to know. It's good to know that. Uh,
yeah. And the thing about Lemmy as well, and about Motorhead is, as much as the heavy metal community may have embraced them, they weren't a metal band. Motorhead existed in its own genre called Motorhead, and Lemmy
yeah,
was right. They were the loudest rock and roll band in the world, and that's it.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
that absolutely nails it. But again, that's typical Lem. Just, well, we're not this, we're not that. I know exactly what we are. We're this, and you're like, yes, that's absolutely incontrovertibly the facts, and
yeah.
and you just can't argue with it. Yeah, he's
and
right.
and and that was reflected at the unveiling. That the people who turned out, it was just like the old gigs. There was like old punks, and there was
Yeah,
rockers, bikers, all different types of to people, and all part of that diverse Motorhead family. And I wonder sometimes whether um, music from then became tribalized because you couldn't just suddenly own the back catalogue of a band. You had to kind of save up and choose your LPs carefully. And if and you listen to every track again and again and made yourself like it if you weren't sure. So when you came to buy another one, it was like, well, I trust this band. I know what I'm getting here, and that made for that kind of faithful following.
yeah, and also I think there was also that tribe, the kind of the metal tribe who adopted Motorhead. Um, the weird thing about Motorhead is that yeah, I mean, I first saw them at Donington Monsters of Rock, but they'd also play Reading,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and
yeah,
and it's like at a time where no one's doing that. If you play
yeah,
if you play Monsters of Rock, that's it. That's stay in your lane. But you know, they're one of the very very few bands. I've always said the only bands I can think of are Motorhead and New Model Army that can be on any festival bill anywhere in the world, any genre, doesn't matter, and people will just go, "All right, yeah, they're on."
yeah. Like you say, they're a category on their own, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and you could tell that from you can tell that from fans as well. I mean, I spoke to somebody that day who said he saw Motorhead for the first time when he was about 17, and he said right then and there I decided that I was going to spend the rest of my life going to see Motorhead as many times in as many countries as possible. And it's cost me relationships, it's cost me a lot of money, it's cost me health, but I wouldn't change a thing. And
Oh,
I'm proud of what I did and what I've done because they are no more. And I got to see them as the most times as I could. I have no
yeah.
regrets.
A unique, transcendent experience. Where you're going to get that? Get on every street corner, do you these days? Or
Yeah,
back then? Um, no, there's an out of body thing to it. I can remember it wasn't just the volume. I mean, the volume was incredible, and that became like a real thing straight away. Wow, this is like right on the edge of something.
yeah,
Uh, that was reflected in the visuals as well. The power on stage, the confidence in what the guys were doing, and then later that followed with the backdrops and the lighting rigs. The famous bomber one that took that whole thing to another level. Uh, and that's what's the great thing that it's like it takes you away from things. It's just like it's just sheer power.
yeah, yeah. And I also think that there was this. There's just this grounded quality as well. I mean, who's got a song about their road crew?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, you count those bands on one hand.
yeah,
And that absolutely sums Motorhead up for me. That one of for me one of their best songs, one of their most best known songs, is literally not about the band. It's about the people who help put the band on. It's about the workers you don't see, and
yeah,
that is
yeah.
that is so uniquely Motorhead.
Well, I can remember. I knew some of the guys who used to do the lights and stuff back at our local venue, and the band that followed Motorhead at Victoria Hall was Sad Cafe. And no disrespect to those guys, but the road crew for Motorhead was still so giddy from that last show that they were just kind of in the choir seats, behind the stage, laughing. And the poor guy outside cafe says, "If you carry on laughing, we're going to walk off the stage." So you can guess what happened.
Yeah.
Um, so the road crew, the fans, it is a unique family, and I was amazed to see how intact it is. And um, I worry sometimes about the culture that we're in. That do the young kids have that same thing? Do they have that same vibe? Is that when this generation of ours is going to go, are the fanatics still there? And you look at like Bloodstock, and you look at even just like how young the audience is for the Oasis
Yeah.
tour,
Yeah.
and perhaps there is that next hungry generation for guitar based noise.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think they also want the experience. They want that, and you're right to bring up Oasis. They still want that experience of belonging to something, because I think, yeah, we're possibly in a more divided society than we've ever been, which means that people band together of
Yeah,
similar types. And I mean, I go to Bloodstock every year, and it is it's that's the future. you know that
yeah, yeah,
all of those different clans all coming together under under one kind of musical umbrella. That's what it's all about. And then also there's the all the different stages with all the different bands on. They're all coming through. One day we're going to see a band headline Bloodstock that played the first time it played Bloodstock was on the new Blood stage or something like that. I'm
yeah,
convinced
yeah,
that's going to happen,
yeah,
because time, that's why.
yeah,
And it's you go to events like that and you think, do you know what? Everything is as healthy as it's ever been, if not more so. It's just that the music changes, but I kind of don't think the attitude does.
yeah. We've got a mini version of that ourselves. That there was two young lads who came to the unveiling of the statue and busked just along the road, a bit sheepishly at first. And Alan Hungerford, who's him and Vicky, the organisers
Yeah,
of
well,
Bloodstock, um, said, "Follow me," and took them into Operations HQ, and they probably thought they were going to get a ticket or something. And he gave them some money. He says, "Thanks for coming." And we've booked those lads to play on the stage for the next event that we're having in Lemmy Plaza.
brilliant.
Because that's the symbol of what you want to try and carry on in Lemmy's name. That idea that you inspire the next generation and the next.
Well, let me know when that event is, and I'll be there if I can be.
Well, we've got an amazing band from LA playing on August the 3rd for us, Falling Doves, from Hollywood, California.
Wow.
Seen many times, friends of ours, and they're playing at Grumpy's Motorcycles as part of the after party. And in the day, we've got a local band, Bang Bang Firecracker, who are very much a powerhouse kind of noise in the tradition of Motorhead. And we've got a Foos tribute, we've got stalls, we've got food, and we're hoping everyone comes who perhaps couldn't make it the first time or enjoyed it so much they want to do it all over again, because that's how we felt. We just thought that this needs to be like a regular party, and we need these people need to be with each other more often.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, sorry, what's the date on that? August the
August the 3rd, and we're calling it Lemmy Encore. We
Brilliant.
because we had to have the event on a Friday, as you know, and not
Yeah,
everybody could get the afternoon off work. So this one's on a Sunday. Um,
yeah. I
and
remember actually, yeah, because I remember asking the audience who'd taken the time off work, and
yeah,
who's here, and work doesn't know. And
yeah,
yeah, it's like, yeah, it's quite a cheer. And funnily enough, all of the police sat around must have been thinking, well, technically, we've got the afternoon off because this is a breeze.
yeah. Oh, the police have been great. I mean, they gave us all the body cam footage of the motorcade. You know, that
Yeah,
procession we had with Harry Feeney from the Rocking Vickers and
yeah,
Phil Campbell, and they all came in the vintage vehicles with that with a Harley escort and then a police escort in front of that. We got all the police footage, and they loved it. They're working with
awesome.
us again, because again, police are just working class people, the same as us, and
Absolutely.
and most of them were Motorhead fans and asked to do that shift. Can you believe that?
Well,
Uh,
I knew that we were all right when there was a couple of guys smoking a really big spliff about 10 feet away from a copper,
yeah.
and he just didn't. He was not bothered in the least. And I thought, yep, it's we're good here, you know.
Well, their work is done. You invite the Motorhead family to anywhere, and the police's work is done. People look after themselves.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that. And I mean, funnily enough, I mentioned I went down to the cafe the following day. I, me and my girlfriend actually ended up talking to the woman who owns the cafe and her partner. At the end of the day, we were still on Lemmy Plaza and we were just hanging out, having a couple of drinks, and we got
Yeah,
talking to him, and she said, "Oh, we own it," and showed us loads of pictures, and we asked her where it was.
yeah,
And I said, "Oh, we'll come down tomorrow." And she goes, "Oh, I'm off tomorrow," but and I said, "Oh, lovely." So yeah, like it's just even that
yeah,
was just everything just kind of linked together.
yeah,
Um, it was I mean, it was an amazing day. It really was. Um, that many people turning up for one guy who, you know, has passed nearly 10 years ago. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. You know, it's
yeah.
testament to the man's legend. It really is.
It made me realise as well. We do ourselves down in Stoke. We have had an industrial kicking, but we are kind of responsible for quite a lot of historical kind of musical movements, not just characters, because the whole Northern Soul scene started in a club called the Golden Torch, and um, um, Billy J. Kramer opened it in 1965, and that became the focus for the Crate Diggers and the Northern Soul scene before it burnt down and moved to Wigan. And
Right.
then and you'll appreciate the influence of Discharge. I can remember I
Oh
was
yeah.
I was in science at school, and a lad came in. There's a band out from around here, and they're faster than the Pistols, and they're as loud as Motorhead, and it was Discharge first single.
Well, Discharge. I mean, I've met him and interviewed him. I think we've played. No, we were supposed to play with him. Didn't happen. But yeah, I mean, legendary band. Big influence on Metallica.
Sure.
You know, and absolutely, yeah. They were kind of like one of the first sort of hardcore bands, as it were, because it's kind of like this is beyond punk. This is kind of beyond what the Pistols are doing,
Yeah,
but it's something else. And it was that it wasn't crossover, although they kind of lent towards that in their
they
later
did. Yeah,
days.
yeah,
But they, I mean, they're still around and still going strong,
yeah,
and and also, you know, let's not leave Slash out of the conversation. You know, I mean, yeah, sure, he's not exactly a son of Stoke,
yeah.
but you know, he was born there. That's still a thing.
Well, he posted online a picture of his uncle next to the Lemmy statue.
Oh,
His
wow.
account. So that's nice of him. Yeah, yeah. I hope he's doing well. And
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah,
I mean, yeah. If those guys are ever in the country, he's like he's got to get up there because I'm sure Lemon Slash spent many an evening having a chat over a pot of tea.
you'd hope so, wouldn't you? Cutting chips as Lemmy was off court doing.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So with the opening of the like the museum and everything else, where does Lemmy Lounge fit in with all of this?
well, our great friends in LA from the Motorhead family there um, heard us talking about the idea of creating like a rainbow of our own, a Lemmy's Lounge in Stoke-on-Trent, and said, "We'll get you all the chair." I mean, they're like garden chairs, aren't they? Lemmy's Lounge is like the reality of it is there's like garden furniture and a poker machine on the bar, but it's getting the vibe right,
Yeah,
and you can some of the local pubs because Burslem is unique in that there must be 20 pubs within like a 200-yard walking distance.
yeah.
And you can tell that, like you said, the cafe had got Motorhead on that day, but you can tell now there's posters and photos on the wall, and people are like coming out as like being proud fans. So I think the way that the town will evolve, there won't be just like a Lemmy's Lounge. There'll be a Lemmy's laundrette and a Lemmy's kind of wool shop.
Yeah, yeah.
I hope
Well,
so.
the next thing is a Lemmy oatcake, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Not many people know what they are because they think they're the Scottish hard biscuits, but it's the precursor of the chapati. The oatcake is like this flexible kind of oat-based pancake that the workers used to kind of roll up fillings in so they could take them to work. A bit like a kind of a cylindrical Cornish pasty that's a bit easier on the teeth. No, very popular, very popular, very healthy food as well.
Oh yeah, very healthy and also provides you with lots of energy, and that's another reason for taking him to work.
Yeah. Well, the old post office, which is the bar that's directly opposite uh, Lemmy Plaza, where the statue is, the old post office there. They're putting a brewery in now. They're putting a
Brilliant.
brewery in as part of that pub.
That's
Uh,
amazing.
yeah.
I was amazed to go into the back area of that because of course I
Oh yeah.
remember it. I remember it when it was Ruffle Comedy Club, and all I ever thought it was just that one room, and we had a dressing room at the side, not behind,
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
where the stage was. And there was a door, but it was shut. So to go through there and realize that actually the venue is bigger. There's more of it that you can't see than there is that you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. No, it's huge. They
Yeah,
let us use the middle room as the security control room, and they're doing that
yeah.
again.
Well,
Um,
and then there's that kind of that other room after that, which was just insane.
yeah. Yeah. I can't
But
believe I saw you, Crusher, Todd Singham, and Phil Campbell all just sitting in that back room. It's normally
yeah.
like kids' birthday parties.
Oh mate, we just it was so nice to just like mingle. There was no air, no one had any airs or graces. And the guys from the Blackpool Lemmy's bar
Oh
came
yeah,
along.
yeah. Waterloo Music Bar,
Yeah,
FY4. Yeah, yeah,
who I know because we played there just after COVID. And he was like, I thought I recognized you.
yeah.
How are
No,
you, mate?
Ian
I was like,
Fletcher, great guy. Yeah,
top man. And we're like, right, we're putting an album out in 26. We'll be touring in 26. Will you have us? Oh, without a doubt, it was great fun. Yeah, yeah, brilliant. So that was that gig organized.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, good stuff. And Harry was good value, wasn't he? Harry Feeney. He was signing. He couldn't
oh yeah,
believe he was signing autographs. Reverend Black of Reverend Black and the Rocking Vicars, one of Lemmy's first bands.
that was
Um,
brilliant.
yeah,
It was great having a chat with them all as well.
yeah,
Uh, on stage, and what I liked as well is that everybody who got up on that stage nobody outstayed their welcome. Nobody. Normally you get at least one person where people are looking at their watches going, come on,
Yeah,
really? Get on with
yeah,
it. Everybody just succinctly got up and sat and said what they had to say about Lemmy and Motorhead.
yeah,
And it was, yeah. I mean, it really was genuinely. It's it's a day I'll never forget. It was incredible. I remember walking round before I got to the burger bar who were playing Motorhead. And I remember walking round and I was doing a video diary for my patrons, and I just shot a video and I just said, listen to that. And it was basically what you're listening to is just the air is full of Motorhead. It's there's a covers band playing in that pub and the sound's leaking from there. There's music, there's Motorhead being blared out by a pub, that's bleeding out. There's buskers, there's burger shops. It's just Motorhead in the air. It's like it's all different songs clashing at the same time, but it's all Motorhead. And I don't think I'll ever experience anything like that again in my life. I haven't before, and I don't think I ever will. It was just, yeah, it was otherworldly. It really was.
yeah. Well, I think we can do it again. I think a lot of people, myself included, realised what we'd missed. You know, I met a lot of people there who I hadn't seen for years and years, and it was great, really great to see them again.
Yeah,
And that's the power of music, and that's the power of the the unique family that is Motorhead for bringing people together. And it's stuck. It's stuck. People still. I thought it had died down, but it hasn't. It hasn't. People um, are responding to Lemmy Plaza as a destination, and the city council now have applied for a live music license themselves to hold. So it should mean that live bands and events are a lot easier to stage for us because it's quite, as you know, it's quite an effort for
yeah,
people like us, amateurs, to try and put on a big party. But it's definitely worth it. I mean, um, it's just like a big outdoor house party. That's what it feels like
yeah,
to me.
yeah. And I'm really pleased with the effect that it's had um, on the council as well. Um, because as I said earlier, they did not see this coming. They did not
Mm.
realize what they had sitting in their lap all this time that
Yeah,
could potentially regenerate an entire area. Because unfortunately, people in those kind of organizations think that regeneration can only be done by selling off swathes of land for very little, getting private investment in to build residential and put shops underneath them like they do everywhere else, and that's it. That's the only way you can do it. And
yeah.
this is just unique.
Well, yeah. One of my inspirations is like the rent parties, in South Bronx, from '73 when the whole hip hop thing started, and people were putting on parties to help raise money for each other just to get by, and then you'd have sound systems that would overlap each other, and then one type of music or one song would play over the top of someone else, and someone have an idea and go, "Oh yeah, we could do that kind of music." And then what you described is like Motorhead being in the air. It was like it kind of makes you feel confident that this is a place of creativity because of how many things are overlapping.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. And also, there's a whole there's a whole generation of kids that that statue going up will hit, and they'll go, "So who is this guy then?
Mm.
And why is there a statue of him?" I and they'll
Look how
go
he's
off.
holding that guitar. That looks cool.
Yeah, 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 exactly. And they're like, they're gonna go off and they do their research. I
Yeah.
remember, I remember on the day being on the stage and looking around, and I could see people, and this happened two or three times, where it was either a couple. The one I really remember is a family, two young kids, probably 7 or 8, mum and dad, wandering through, and the kids going like pulling, what's going on, what's going on. And you could see the parents are completely like nonplussed, what is going on. And just watching them come round and see what was going on and twig what this all was. And and you could see the parents sort of turning to each other kind of in amazement, like, oh, like, wow, look at this. And look at this thing on our doorstep. And the kids just like jumping up and down with excitement that like there's just loads of people around. And there seems to be this big party going on. And it's free to get in. We can just like, come on, we can just
Yeah.
walk around there and we can be part of this. And I just thought, God, what an experience. Do you know what I mean? They're like literally walking up the road going, oh, it's a lovely day. Let's take a walk into town and we'll have chips on the steps or something as a treat for the kids. And
Yeah.
they walk into that and they're just like, oh my God,
Oh,
right, okay.
I love the concept of an urban festival. That's like you haven't got, instead of the fields, you've just got roads and squares, and all the venues are linked by everybody just getting together, and people kind
Yeah,
of walk around and going from one show to another. That's definitely something that suits that area,
yeah,
because there are a lot of venues in walking distance, and the Grumpy's Motorcycle Bar has got a train station. It's like a short distance Longport. So, and then you walk the Crooked Mile that we're calling it, where you go past Lemmy's childhood house on the way up to the statue. Uh, and you should have to walk. It should be like when people drop you off outside the pyramids on a coach and you're just there. You should have to walk a little bit, and feel that anticipation.
yeah. I think, well, the Motorhead walking tour, that's going to will itself into existence without a doubt.
Oh God, that's it's really it's. I mean, all these things kind of fall into place if they're right, don't they? Sometimes, and on that walk is the grave of Molly Lee, who was a woman accused of being a witch, and I think she caught the local vicar up to no good, and he kind of turned the tables on her and got her persecuted, and
It's like something out of a Monty Python sketch, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Someone says something you don't like. She's a witch.
yeah, that's exactly it.
No, they stuck this nose on. Yeah, simpler times, but also the fact that there is it's such a beautiful old like buildings and architecture in the area as well. That and some of it that unfortunately is really sort of gone into a sad state of disrepair.
Yeah,
And and they're listed buildings because the drive up the hill to Lemmy Plaza. On the way there, I was talking about the area and about how there's these beautiful buildings and stuff like that, and we passed one as well, which was clearly used to be a venue, and it was
yeah,
stunning,
yeah,
but with just
yeah,
like trees growing out of it. And the cab driver said, and I said, normally, all the, or, this stuff should be redeveloped. This stuff is listed, and it should be, the beauty of it should be brought back. But all developers want to do is knock it down and start again. And the taxi driver said, yeah, and that's what they want to do here as well, because it's cheaper to knock it down and rebuild than it is to bring that back to life. And he said, and last year, two of these lovely buildings that developers have been refused permission to demolish magically burnt down.
yeah. One of those is the famous pub called the Leopard, um, and that was like kind of the boozer for people like uh, Josiah Wedgwood, Charles Darwin. Um, that's where they had this thing called the Lunar Society, where because of traveling, they had to wait for the full moon so they could see to get home when they'd had a few. Um,
That's brilliant.
but the Lunar Society was like a meeting of the minds. You got railway engineers, you got chemists, you got potters like Josiah, and they'd all kind of get together and exchange like skill sets, and that's how you got innovation. So there's a history of Burslem being a drinking place, really. Well, it's not fair just to say drinking. It's a good time get together place for
Yeah.
sharing ideas and being daft.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, you know, that was certainly my experience on the day. And I remember on the day as well, just being amazed by the fact that people had come from so many different parts, and not just the
Mhm.
UK. People had, really made the effort to get there from other countries.
We counted them. We got all the drone footage and we kind of overlaid it and we put like squares over it and we counted the heads and we counted 3,100
Wow,
in that square. And
that's I mean, I honestly, it still amazes me now. But also the fact that Lemmy Plaza has a busy road running right by the side of it.
yeah, that's a bit of
And
an issue, really. We long term we want to try and have movable bollards and kind of when we do reopen the main venue, make that like kind of in the evening a safer zone.
well, the thing is, what I remember from the day is the fact that you had that busy road. And I mean, normally, you hear the horns, people. There was just there wasn't even any kind of like traffic incidents. Do you know what I mean? There
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
any sort of like, oh, people are spilling out onto the road and, motorists are getting frustrated or anything like that. It was just everybody stayed in that one place. It was kind of like everybody just wanted to be together.
yeah, yeah. It spreads, doesn't it? Goodwill spreads like bad stuff does. And
Yeah.
I definitely felt that on the day. There was no. It was Friday afternoon. People were like going home early, and there was no mither at all.
Yeah.
It was very good spirited. Um, and we're gonna carry that on. We're gonna carry that on because what else are we gonna do other than try and have another good time?
Yeah, absolutely. So, how does the future shape up for you? I mean, it's, Lemmy's Lounge, getting all of the, getting this finance together. I mean,
Yeah,
is this effectively like a full-time job for you now?
yeah, yeah. I can't. I mean, I have got lots of statues to do. Because that is my job.
That is something that nobody has ever said on this podcast.
No, I've got a really good job. I love what I do. I get to kind of try and capture spirits and make them imbue pieces of metal as beacons that attract people. That's a great job. But
But was
the
this was this was Lemmy was that was more for you though? It was like,
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No, it was a. I mean, every job I do is a labor of love. I've never done a statue of somebody I didn't like really like.
you
Um,
can't though, can you?
well, you can see some people do, can't you? And some of those are good people as well, which is a shame. And you should have to pass some kind of test before you get to do these things.
Yeah.
Prove your loyalty to the subject. But yeah, Lemmy was a special one. It's my hometown, and I can't let it go. It has taken a life over. I mean, there's just a handful of us who formed this community interest company called IFK Legacy, which is Lemmy's initials, Ian Fraser Kilmister,
Yeah.
and at the moment we've got one strategy is looking at the development of the main building, the former Queen's Theatre into Kilmister Halls, and that is a model based on sharing. It's the idea that you can have big brands like a recording studio, and those big brands pay for the people who can't afford a space but need that creative kind of atmosphere to be around. People who haven't even got the money for an instrument, we want to have a musical instrument library, where people can donate. Um, I started rebuilding guitars during lockdown. A lot of people went back to doing things that gave them comfort when they were younger, and I just thought I'm going to buy and sell and customize and restore guitars because that when I was in a band forever ago, you had to make your own guitars and customize them and stuff. So um, I met a lot of people who were doing the same kind of thing, and we want those as part of Kilmister Halls. We want people who can um, who enjoy that, enjoy fixing things because we're good at that in Stoke. We're good at fixing stuff, and um, that on that grassroots level where somebody can just lend them a guitar or a set of drums, that can be the difference. That
Yeah.
can be the difference in the path they take through life. Uh,
Yeah.
and then and then because they're rubbing shoulders with professionals, musicians who can have a rehearsal space and a performance area as well as record material, then there's nothing that beats that, is there? When you hang around people uh, who who are good at what they do, it rubs off.
Yeah. Without a doubt. Have you ever been across to Blackpool to the oh, I keep forgetting the name.
Waterloo Music Bar,
Yeah. Have you ever been across
yeah,
there?
it's a great place, and
Phenomenal.
Ian created the Lemmy's Lounge there during lockdown as well,
Yeah,
and
well, like I said, we were one of the first bands to play after lockdown. In fact, we
yeah,
played as a four piece because one of the members of the band got COVID bad
oh
and just
gosh,
wasn't
yeah,
able to recover in time.
yeah,
So we went and did it as a four piece, and I remember talking to Ian at the time, and he said, well, we had a decision to make in lockdown. It was either do we pack up and go home, or do we reinvest and go big? And we ended up reinvesting and going big.
yeah,
And he said basically we weren't able to do it at the time because they hadn't got it. So he said, but he said within the next few months, bands will be able to live stream their show from here.
yeah, yeah,
And one of our sound guys came up to me and he said, you know that desk that they've got here, and this PA and all this. And I was like, yeah. He said, you could use that for a small festival. It's almost too good for in here.
yeah,
He said,
yeah,
don't get me wrong, it's a brilliant desk, and I'm going to have an absolute whale of a time, and you're going to sound amazing. He
yeah,
said, but this is like putting like a Rolls Royce in your front room. It's mad.
yeah.
And
He's got a Murder One stack as well, hasn't he?
yeah, he's got the Murder One stack, and also they've got the old Bowls Stadium next door,
Yeah,
which I
yeah,
know Ian's got his eye on
yeah,
as, well, let's have some Motorhead get-togethers. This is a perfect outdoor area. And he took me around the whole place and was just like showing me what they'd done and what their plans were. And
no, it's brilliant.
yeah, absolutely brilliant. And we all stayed there as well. I mean, it's huge. We had,
Yeah,
we all stayed there. It's like almost like a hotel above it. It was like, oh, pick a room.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, I mean, it was an absolutely incredible place and an incredible vibe.
yeah.
And
He was a big inspiration, in taking on Kill Mr. Halls in Burslem. Ian's worked there. I went to see him before. I'd only got a scale model of the Lemmy statue then, and I took it to show him and just to meet him. And big inspiration, a lot of good energy there as well.
yeah,
Um, and hopefully, quite soon we'll be partners, and in terms of like directing people towards each other's venue, and
yeah.
um, yeah, no, I love it there. I think it's
I
brilliant.
and I meant to mention them from the stage on the day as well, but unfortunately, like many things, it just like
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah,
dropped out my ears. But yeah, I mean, it was fantastic for them to come over and support on that day as well.
yeah, yeah. He was the first person I thought of, when we was trying to put together the guest list, and I'm really glad I didn't get to speak to. I saw him in passing because it was hectic that day.
Oh,
Uh,
same here. I probably spoke to him for like no more than 2 minutes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But it was, to be honest, it was one of those days where I don't think I spent more than 2 minutes talking to anybody because then, someone else comes along and someone else comes along and, you just, yeah, it
Yeah,
was,
and Todd, I hardly spoke to Todd. I mean, the guy kind of sponsored the whole statue project in unbelievable generosity that he's got right across the board. It's not just for this project. That's the kind of person he is.
yeah.
And he come all the way from LA, and I hardly spoke to Todd, so I feel bad about that. But I could see that he was enjoying himself.
Same here, same here. But do you know what? Because I was going to make an effort to sort of talk to him,
Yeah,
and he was sat with a family that I don't know how they were connected, but they were connected to either to Lemmy or there was a connection there.
yeah.
And he was sat with this family from Stoke, and they were telling their stories, and he was just sat back with this big smile on his face. And I thought, I'm not going over there and interrupting. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
he's clearly absolutely loving just hearing all of this stuff.
Did you
And
meet legendary Lonnie as well? Lonnie Cook, the guy with the cowboy hat and the beard. He's one of our
oh
big
yes,
local
yes,
characters. He used to have a really influential record shop. Introduced a lot of people to a
yes.
lot of bands.
Yes,
Uh,
no, I did
big.
meet him. I did meet him. The only famous record shop owner I've ever met.
Oh gosh, well, beyond that, he was in a band that played on the first night of the Golden Torch, the club I mentioned. And he was big mates with David Such. He used to tour with Lord Such,
Wow,
and
that's
yeah, he told me that because I was asking about this legend that John Lennon was going to play the Hollywood Festival just up the road from where we are. It's a different Hollywood, um, and that and it happened in 1970. It was before Glastonbury, before the Isle of Wight, and they got Black Sabbath, Grateful Dead, Radha Krishna Temple, Jose Feliciano, Traffic, big lineup, and that would have been Glastonbury if the field hadn't flooded that September, and
no.
and I was talking to you about that because John Lennon was going to be on stage with a supergroup with Steve Peregrine Took. Eric Clapton was rumored to have appeared, and I said to Lonnie, was this true? Because there might be an opportunity to commemorate John Lennon. I'm sorry I couldn't make it to Stoke on that day, and he said, no, I think Such would have told me if he'd mentioned it. So it's one of those rumours that the promoters put about. But he did tell me about when he met Long John Baldry, who was keyboard player at the time, Reg Dwight.
Right,
Um,
yeah.
he mentioned, my mate's got a really good record shop. You should come next time. And a few years later, Reg Dwight, then Elton John, came into Lonnie's record shop. And I said to Lonnie, did he buy any records? He says, yeah, he bought a few. I said, really? Yeah. He says he bought mine, Wine Glass Rock, and he bought basically all his back catalogue so that he could sign them for people. But no, Lonnie, he'd go into his record shop and he'd put something in your hands and say, can you afford this? Yeah, buy this. Don't look any further. Buy this, whatever it was, whatever the good album was at the time.
I
I
had a
think
few.
what
I had a few shops like that
did
where you walk in and they go, "Oh, Howard,
you?
got something for you. Got something for you. You're gonna love
Yeah,
this." And luckily, over the years, I've always used. I remember I had that experience with Marillion. I had that experience with a band called No Means No. Had that experience with System of a Down, with Machine Head,
yeah.
where I literally walk in the shop and they go, Howard, I've got something for you. This. And you just put it on and just go, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'll
Well,
have
get
that.
this one. I went into Mike. You had Mike Lloyd on your other podcast. Mike Lloyd, the promoter,
Yeah.
legendary promoter, who put on the Heavy Metal Holocaust, and it was in his shop. Um, Black Sabbath had just played our local venue called Victoria Hall in 1978, and he said the support band was pretty good last night. They've got an album out. It was Van Halen one.
Wow. Oh,
I think
brilliant.
Ozzy put them on the tour because he was a bit threatened by Kiss, so he had Van Halen as a support instead.
Yeah, and that rings true without a doubt. Um, but I'm going to be interested to see as well as how many bands make the pilgrimage when they're on the road in the UK. How
Yeah,
many bands are going to be saying to tour managers, can we can we can we route? Is it on the way somewhere? Can we route a gig so we can get a look at the statue?
yeah, it's becoming more of a play. I mean, the the cleaner Gary, who cleans up all that area now, has started leaving the Jack Daniels bottles, with flowers in that are there. He knows that it's part of the idea.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of recycling scheme. You leave a full bottle, and the homeless guys drink it, and then put flowers in it and put it by the statue. So everyone's happy.
Do you know what? That the family I was referring to earlier there when I was hearing their story about a statue, typical sort of Stokey comment that came out. and they were talking about it and saying how good it was and how beautiful it looked and all the rest of it. And there was this pause, and the old fellow went, "Yeah, let's just hope no bloody idiots bloody deface it with spray paint or something like that." I just thought, yeah, that's 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 always that's always a risk, but that's never going to stop you doing these things.
Yeah, I mean, there's cameras on it and stuff, but people are very reverential, aren't they? Around that
Yeah,
because in effect, it's his final resting place with his ashes, the last of his ashes being in there that Phil Campbell put in, and then me and Martin, the stonemason, had to put that giant motor pig kind of bronze door over it, and of course he hadn't put enough catalyst in the resin, and we were standing there leaning against it for about half an hour while waiting for it to go off.
oh no.
But no one noticed. Did you see the unveiling where we had that big orange parachute? I mean,
Yeah,
when you look at that, you think I wouldn't jump out of a plane holding that. It's like a Sainsbury's bag.
yeah, I know. It's mad. It's
But
mad.
I knew that was going to get stuck on the neck of the guitar or the head,
Yeah.
despite these like big long kind of lifters that we got ready to lever it off from the back. And sure enough, it got stuck. And
Do you know what though? It's a great bit of footage with you being up there.
It wasn't me.
It
That's a myth. That's a myth.
Really?
Yeah, no, it was a lad called Spider from the bike club. I know. Well, I should take credit, really, shouldn't I? I mean, but no, I must burst that bubble. It wasn't me.
Right.
It was one of the biker entourage, and Alan Hungerford could see it, and I was like, I wasn't laughing or anything, but I knew it had kind of not go smoothly.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he's kind of looking around, and he grabs hold of Spider by the scruff of his neck, and he goes, "Shoulders now!" And he literally threw him up into the air, and he scrambled up and got under there, and it was like swirling like a vortex, was it? And
Yeah.
then, will it, won't it? And then finally, we unveiled a human as well as a statue.
Well, the thing is, as well, is that what's great is that he celebrates it like he scored a goal.
He did, yeah.
And it's brilliant because it looks like he's celebrating scoring a goal with Lemmy, And it was just, it was.
And the next night, in the bar the next night, he was telling everybody out. Yeah, I decided I had to scale that plinth and get up there.
the legend began.
Yeah, the legend of Spider.
Well, and funnily enough, I had many messages from people saying, "Were you at the Lemmy unveiling today?" Yeah. Is that your voice I could hear on the radio? I was like, yeah. They're like, thought it was.
No, I'll always be grateful for you being there, Howard. It was really good of you.
Oh, mate, I'm grateful to be invited. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. And to say that I was there and to be part of that was just, it was just amazing. And this the whole Motorcast journey that started in lockdown has been going for 5 years now.
Yeah.
And it's the first time I'd met Todd as well. And I mean, I went to shake his hand and said, "Hi, Todd. I'm Howard. I'm the host." And he shook my hand and he looked me in the eye and he went, "I know who you are."
Did he?
And I was like, okay. And he was like, "I appreciate the work you're doing, keeping the legacy alive. The Motorcast is a great thing. We love what you're doing. Just keep doing it." And I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
It never occurred to me that he knew anything about it, that, the whole Motorhead family and the empire is so big that he can't be across everything. And the podcast is something that, it came along.
Yeah.
I know Stefan gave it the go ahead.
Yeah.
So, but clearly it went up the chain at some point. And he was just, it just
last week. When I first spoke to you on the Motorcast, I thought you were in the same building somewhere. This like kind of, Captain Scarlet floating kind of castle with all the Motorhead people in.
Oh right, yeah, no, just in my house, which is where I did the podcast with Miles from BMG.
Yeah,
and he's the guy behind all of the re-releases and the design behind it and
Yeah,
making
he's
it
great,
all
isn't he?
as
He's
spot on.
really
Yeah,
good.
oh, his eye for detail is brilliant. But
Yeah.
he, we had a chat for the podcast, and then when it had finished, we were just talking in general because he put our comeback single out on his old like little punk label
Oh
as a
gosh, I didn't know
as a
that. Yeah.
one-sided 7 inch,
Yeah.
and um, so we were just chatting, and I knew he'd put a few things out. I knew they'd got the Noise Records catalog at BMG now, and and he said, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, I've kind of stayed on, and I'm there doing all sorts. I'm working on the Motorhead catalog and the Ace of Spades coming out." And I was like, "Right," I said, "You should do a podcast." And he was like, "Yeah, that's a great idea. Why don't we?" Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll run it. I'll run it up the chain now because it was lockdown, of course. What I'm used to is, and I never heard from him ever again. You know, because you
Right.
have,
Yeah.
given the industry, that's how it works. But it
Yeah.
was lockdown. Nobody had an excuse. Nobody had anywhere to go. Nobody had anything to do other than. So Miles comes back within a week saying, marketing department love it. Marketing department love it. Had the idea previously, couldn't find a host, so got a host. Brilliant. It's been sent up the chain to Motorhead management. So I went up to Motorhead management to Stefan Shirazi.
Yeah.
Now, Stefan then said, "Can you send me a link to his podcast, the one we're on now?"
Yeah.
And the episode that was right at the top was Tony Mottram, who is a rock photographer. He was the first person I ever did a photo session with back in 1988.
Yeah.
And he's photographed everybody. And he's a pretty tough interview because he's, don't get me wrong, he's an absolutely wonderful guy. But it's like wrestling an oily pig, you know. It's just like it's all over the place, and
Yeah.
you just got to try and like keep getting him back on topic. And he's just absolute legend. Love him. Also, he's been on the Motorcast,
Yeah.
and this was the episode that was at the top. Stefan knew Tony from back in the day, so of
Right.
course it was the first episode he played. It was at the top of the page, and apparently he came back like half an hour later, going, "Yeah, perfect. He's got the job. Only one condition: I'm the first interview."
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Yeah. The one with the sandwiches.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So literally from the very first conversation, I think within about 4 or 5 weeks, we had the first episode up and running.
Yeah.
And do you know what? That'd be 4 or 5 months slash never if we hadn't been in lockdown.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
some things
not
came out of it.
not only is it like an invaluable kind of online museum, but I think it's popularized a new creative format that people hadn't thought about because the brilliant thing about podcasts compared to like the old-fashioned legacy media interviews is that it's a conversation, isn't it? It's like it's a
Long form.
long form, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that we can facilitate as part of Kilmister Halls. That if we've got that recording facility,
Yeah.
we've got the people, the space, and the equipment to show people how to make their own podcasts, to
Yeah.
get their own conversations going.
Absolutely. I mean, I listened to podcasts for 10 years before I started one.
Yeah,
Um, and I knew that what I wanted from a podcast, or what I want from a podcast, so what I wanted to make my podcast become, is people should feel like they're eavesdropping on a conversation that is a topic about something they like, that is just that's for me when it works best.
yeah,
And that depends entirely on who you're talking to, because some people can be quite guarded and not want to expand and go deep. Some people are more than willing to do that. And one or two people over the years have had so much media training that they're incapable of doing that, and that you can talk about absolutely anything in the world, but somehow within a couple of sentences they will get it back to their new album, their new book,
yeah,
whatever it is.
yeah,
And
yeah,
at that point, when you've got someone like that, you just got to go, right, okay,
Yeah, I
You
know
know,
what you mean. I know what you
I'm
mean.
going to have to play the game, and that's it. But also, having been in a band, I always felt that, or rather, being in a band, um, that it becomes a sort of peer to peer interview, which means people relax a little bit, you know, and because they know what it's like,
Yeah, that's important. Yeah, I can
and
feel that from you.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and that has to be that helps. That dynamic helps as well,
yeah,
um, because it means people can be slightly more relaxed. But also, I know what it's like to be on a promotion cycle, and so I'll always try and get the last interview of the day, because if I'm in the last interview of the day, it means it can run long, and I will want it to run long.
right.
And secondly, as soon as it starts, I can say to them, don't worry, this is not a what's your favorite track on the album? Why did you use that producer? Why did you record there? But it's not. We are just going to have a chat about anything you like. It
Yeah,
could even be the new album, but it doesn't have to be,
I
you
think
know?
a lot of people are intimidated by what they perceive to be the technical side. Do I need to understand what a gate does, and
Yeah.
all my levels, and what are the acoustics of this room and stuff? But
Yeah.
I think it's the content that kind of drives it for me. The podcasts I like yours and stuff, and I've got that kind of intimate feel without all that
Yeah, I mean,
baggage.
it's keeping it sort of a bit knockabout as well. I mean, I with the Motorcast, I do have to do some editing because sometimes people say stuff that cannot be allowed to be said.
Yeah,
Um, uh, but with my, I try not to edit at all, and that's just my thing, you know. Um, and if I'm interviewing somebody live, like in a dressing room or something, and a tour manager pops in with some information about when dinner is or blah 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 or everything like, just leave it all in, because
yeah,
that
yeah,
that makes it feel even more genuine, because people get to feel like they are in the room and they're hearing all of this stuff. That it's like, well, that's what happened, so why would I take it out?
yeah. No, that's great.
You know. But it's amazing what you're doing, mate. It really, really is, and you know, it would just be incredible to see Kilminster Halls, you know, in all its glory.
I don't think there's any doubt. I think that it will happen. And you can just tell. You can just tell. There's a building there that cost hundreds of thousands of pounds to stay derelict every year, and they're those kind of places up and down the country. And it's like anything. You nibble away at it. You kind of see a route through a little section of it, and then that connects to something else, and that connects to something else, and all of a sudden you haven't got enough space. You need to
That's
do
a
it.
really good that's a really good point that I had not thought of. You're absolutely right. It costs hundreds of thousands of pounds to keep the place derelict,
Yeah, yeah.
because it's obviously otherwise it becomes a hazard to the public.
And what's good about this particular building as well is it's kind of opened. I think it was in the 20s or maybe a little bit before. And that style of architecture, I found out from Alan Hungerford, that Lemmy absolutely loved that type of building. And whenever they'd be in the car somewhere, if he saw somewhere like that, Lemmy would say, "Can we pull over and have a look at this?" So there's something in the air that feels right, because you're never on your own with these things. Um, all the things that we tried to put together for the unveiling, it went fairly smooth, but like every couple of days, I was like, I've had enough now. I can't do this anymore. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And then one of
Yeah.
the others would say, "No, I'm done." And that's how it goes. And it,
Yeah.
and if there's a few of you, you pick each other up. There's always somebody who's a little bit down. There's always someone who's a little bit. It's like being in a band, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
imagine. Yeah.
No, it
Uh,
is.
that's the secret, isn't it? Teamwork and dream work and all
That's it. Teamwork makes the dream work.
that.
Let's finish on a cliche. Look, mate,
Yeah. Why not?
this has been absolutely amazing. Thank
Oh,
you
it's
so
lovely. It's
much.
lovely of you to have me on and indulge me like you've done for the past couple of years.
Not a problem.
Catalyst that you are.
Wait, what do you call me? Oh, mate, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard, and see you very soon in Burslem.
Oh, mate, I really hope so.
Lovely.
Cheers, dude.
Very
Bye
good.
bye.
Bye bye.